Hello, today we are drawing Zac Efron because I genuinely just really like Zac Efron and the way he looks. He's very aesthetically pleasing. Like, come on, look at this man. I'm also currently have been obsessed with The Greatest Showman for the past couple months since it came out in theaters. I have this soundtrack to memorize. It is my go-to soundtrack to listen to in the car. You know, this is an ongoing trend with my videos now, me talking about Broadway soundtracks that I listen to. Pretty sure I was actually listening to the Be More Chill Broadway soundtrack while drawing this. And yeah, I'm kind of a nerd that way, listening to Broadway soundtracks instead of real music. Arguably, Broadway is real music, but I guess it depends who you talk to. So, this drawing, I decided to, since my camera battery didn't die and I was able to keep track of when I ran out of memory, I was able to actually film my entire process. There was not a single bit where I didn't actually film me drawing, so I thought it would be helpful if I didn't speed it up as much as I usually do, because I speed up my videos a lot. Like, I do, because I just feel like people aren't gonna sit here for 7 to 8 minutes watching me draw. So I usually try and make my videos down to 3 minutes, so I speed it up a lot faster, and due to that, you miss a lot of my progress. It almost seems like it skips over things, and with it slowed down a little more, obviously it's not real time still, because then we would be here for hours. I think this drawing took me like 2 hours, maybe. I don't quite remember. It was around there. That I would just not have enough to say, honestly. If it was 2 hours long, I would be sitting here like, yeah, so how's everyone's day going? Yeah, you know, it's currently almost midnight, and I'm trying to whisper, but be loud enough for the mic because my roommate's sleeping. Yeah. Anyway, so I really don't care for the facial hair of this drawing, especially after doing my Daniel Radcliffe drawing, where I was absolutely really pleased with the facial hair, probably the best facial hair I ever drew. This one, I didn't really care for it. I mean, it was okay. It turned out okay. I find the thicker the facial hair, the easier it is to draw. The thinner the facial hair, the more it just looks like little lines. Quite annoying. And especially with using charcoal, because that's what I use, when you blend it to try and make it look more realistic, I couldn't even think of wording there, it takes out a lot of the details, so you have to do a lot of layering when it comes to facial hair, and it takes quite a while to get it right. I think I spent more time on this facial hair than the rest of the drawing. Yeah, see, I think I kind of like gave up and just moved on. I also try and do like different angles when I'm drawing, just to like switch it up, make it more interesting. You can also see on my reference photo, when my arm is not in the way, there's like lines on it. That's me figuring out the proportions of the drawing. If you're ever wondering, I print out my reference photo to be the same size as my paper so that I can get the proportions correctly, which I never film because you literally don't see anything when I do that. So here I'm doing the other side of the face. Because I'm left-handed, I tend to go in like a circle. I'll start with like the right eye to the nose, the mouth, and then back to the other eye, just to avoid smearing. Because that's the struggle of being left-handed. You smear very easily. My hands literally are black after a drawing. Literally black. I also currently hear people outside and my window is open. Oh no. Maybe I shouldn't record myself late at night. Too much anxieties, frankly. So here's a random tip. When you have a portion of the face that's really dark, it's really helpful to try and blend it, like gradually get to that darkness. Even if in the reference photo it looks like a very sharp black shadow still, at least do a little bit of blending to gradually get to that darkness. It'll help make it look more realistic and not so sharp. I mean, yeah, I know the point is if it's sharp in the reference photo, it should be sharp on the drawing, but it just doesn't contrast, I guess, better. I don't know what I'm saying. It doesn't look good drawing-wise, okay? Now I'm doing the neck, which Next are among the easier thing to draw, except I messed up this one and I had to erase. But I figured it out. It was all good. Because next are just like, you kind of just color them in and they work out. I also use Q-tips for a lot of my blending. I don't know, they just work, okay? They work. I also use the reference photo when I do have to go across the drawing to avoid smudging. That's why I cover it up a lot. I know people have complained in the past that I do that, but it's for the sake of the drawing. I can't like wreck the drawing. I also really don't like how the hair turned out. I tend to like to draw people with darker hair because it's easier. As you can see, it literally looks like I'm just coloring it in for the most part. But I just feel like I didn't give his hair enough dimension and texture, so it kind of looks flat to me. I mean, it works. I don't think it takes away from the drawing, but not my best hair. Also, was really nervous for this hand because I suck at drawing hands. I've never drawn a good hand before. I drew Princess Leia back in December. I didn't end up filming that one, and her hands were at her face, and the hands turned out so bad. I was so upset. This hand, it turned out okay. For someone who sucks at drawing hands, hates drawing hands, it definitely turned out really good compared to how my hands usually turn out. I don't understand why I suck at hands so much. Like, especially around the nail area. The nail area is what, gets me every time. I'm just like, why does it just... I don't even know what it looks like. It just doesn't look like real. It looks like a cartoon, or I don't know. He also has a weird ring on his finger, which I almost forgot about when drawing this. And I'm pretty sure I might go back to this hand after drawing the rest. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Well, maybe I don't. And here we are with the clothes. Funny thing is, when I was doing the proportions, I was like, ooh, do I want to do this really crazy design on his shirt, practice on my clothing, get those folds in because I suck at clothing. I initially tried that. As you can see, that's what I'm doing here, trying to figure out those folds. And then here I am trying to make sure the pattern. I always get lazy when it comes to clothes because by the time I get there, I'm tired. I just want the drawing to be over, so then I kind of end up being lazy. Here, I'm just fixing the face, but here I am, like, oh, I'm gonna actually try and make this look like actual clothes, even though this is not even close to the pattern that is on his clothes. I end up giving up and makeshifting a weird, pirate-like vest for him. Which you'll see. As you can see, I'm still trying. I'm here we are, shadows. Let's try and make this look like actual clothes. And then here I am just full on giving up. Why do I bother putting details on clothes? I just like people wearing black shirts so I can just color it in and call it a day. It literally looks like a pirate vest. I'm sorry, Zac Efron, for putting you in a pirate vest. Please forgive me, but you would make a very good pirate. So, yeah. I still I didn't want to color the whole thing black because I still wanted there to be some sort of texture to his clothes, because if you don't do any texture, it just looks flat, and the whole point of a realistic photo is to make it look like it's lifting off the page. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here, trying to add highlights and shadows still until I eventually give up. This is me just erasing around the photo. Oh, and then we're done! So that's my drawing of Zac Efron. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!